right, rat rod build, part number 28. It's the 15th of July, 2016. Also der 16. Januar 2016. And I'm making some really good progress here. I've been on leave for probably about a month right now. In the last 3, 4, 5 days, I have quality time with the Plymouth in the garage. So the lists in the background are actually getting smaller and smaller. Let me show you what I've been doing here. This has actually turned out pretty good. This right here you saw in the car the last time, but since then I was actually able to drill my 4th gauge because I cut this out the rear end of it right here, which now allows me to actually put a gauge in here. This is going to be for the electric glass sunroof. And check out these cool switches. I picked those up at the Vetorama, and those are going to be my on-off for my individual windshield wipers, which poke through right here in stainless steel. Really cool. There's the other one, and what's cool about this thing is you can actually spin these little things off of here right now. And really cool. And all this is going to be covered in that black Naugahyde stuff that I always use, the Kunstleder as the Germans call it, the fake leather or leatherette. But check this out. Got a couple of holes drilled right here. It took me a long time to figure out where to put those, but that's going to be for my head unit, JVC, and the main amplifier and the sub amplifier for the Mac audio sitting in the trunk. Basically, I can cut them off and on as desired. Moving over here, here's some more of those really cool switches. These things go for about €2 or 15 to 20 euros depending on what stand and who's selling them. Now these right here are actually going to be my door jamb, and this controls the dome light. Basically it gives it negative or ground, and it lets your dome light cut on. Moving over here, I actually found these at Radio Shack or like a Conrad Electronic, and I think those are going to be my idiot lights and my lights. Check this out. The little thing in the background here that I drew up, you know, I get old and I forget a whole bunch of stuff, so before you start pulling wires up into the valence and where your gauge is going to be at, you have to list exactly everything out on what you need, the sending units, switch 12 volts obviously, and the illumination light for the actual gauges. And here's the rest of the stuff. So I got 11, 12 wires running up top right now. Anyway, let me show you something I'm kind of proud of right now. So this is going to be part of the roof, or the headliner if you will. And since some of my other videos, this is actually the LED strips, and I got myself a rheostat put in here so I actually control the lights. Now check this out. This is all the way down, and if you can see up in here, they're very light, or you can cut them off. If you turn this thing really slowly, they get brighter and brighter until they're wide open. Wide open is actually kind of bright, but that's how come I can have these things just a little bit. And again, when you open up the door is when those things will cut on. Now check this out. This right here you pick up at your local Home Depot, Baumarkt over here, and all they are is just channels for looks like about a 1/4 inch. And I painted these black. And what this will do, this is actually going to pop up right here if you look at the channel in here, and it pops on right here, and this is how I join this right here with the old headliner that came out of the BMW for the glass sunroof. See right here? I don't know if you can see that light or not. I actually push it up in here and it goes all the way to the back, and I join it, and it'll be a nice little seam. There's my other one. This is actually the passenger side. You always have to flip them upside down, and I was like looking, it's like, wait a minute, I got the switches on the wrong side. And of course I got myself some speakers up in here. These are actually Hiphonics, really high quality speakers, and these are the ones that are going to be running simply off of the head unit if I don't have the amplification on. This is some kind of weird board, and if you can see, my LED packs are right back here. I got some of the Gorilla tape on there just to keep the light from coming through. And then right here is actually the back of the speaker. And again, I'm definitely not a upholstery guy, but looks pretty good. And this stuff right here is super easy to cover. You get this stuff called Patex, which is like a spray-on adhesive. You spray it on there, you tack both sides of it, and it looks really cool as far as I'm concerned. So the little switch right here took a little while to make too. But anyway, enough of that. This looks really good. I'm proud of that one, and I should have that in the car in the next couple of days. Here's my box of cables. It's kind of neat. That's probably about 20 years, and I can just take this thing and move it around and roll it right back underneath here, and it's out the way. So moving on over here, I wanted to show you something here. The last time you saw this thing, it still had the word Hercules written on it right here. And plus it also had a fin up on top right here. So again, this is not the, the artistic type of Roger here, but the problem is when the car sat level, that gauge or that little hood ornament wasn't exactly level. So what I did is I took the Hercules off of that, and then I shaved this top one off and then polished the aluminum here, and then I got a set screw in the bottom of it, and just tap that out in there and put it back on there. So I think it actually looks pretty decent right now, so I'll keep it on there. What I do with the H for Hercules, I don't know. I might keep it in here. So moving on around here, show you some of the fun stuff. This is actually fun. Call it fun or call it not. Get up in here. So this is what I call, it's a little spaghetti mess right now, but it's perfectly okay. So there's some rhyme and reason to all this stuff right here. So most of my stuff is running to conduit. Now what I do have up here is I got these little tie straps loose, and as you're pulling your cables, you always try to route them someplace, because what I'll do on the end, I'll take nice tie straps, tie everything together. Not only does that make it look neat, it also stops it from chafing and rubbing up against metal someplace. Now check this out. Here's that little switch I was telling you guys about, or little light, excuse me. And this one is actually for my rear suicide door switches. This thing will bright red you once you turn your ignition on, and you come out here, and if this switch is closed, the light won't cut on. If you turn it like this right here, I got a switch running in here, and if you notice when the ignition is on, that little light is blind and right here above me. It's where it's going to be. Because the last thing you ever want to do is to have these doors coming open at you when you're running 20, 30, 40, or 100 miles an hour, because that would be bad. Not only are you going to rip the door off the hinges, you might actually cause an accident because the airflow will probably push you into the railing someplace. And if you've noticed, this has actually happened before. That wasn't me, that was somebody who owned the car before I did, and it kind of like busted up some of these hinges right here, but I've actually got it working straight, and you can adjust these things. So anyway, that's a cool little feature. These little pins right here, they actually go into the door right here as you're closing it up. Again, I'm not in the back seat that often, but once these pins are in here, really nothing can happen. Plus you have a safety lock out of here anyway, like my little door handle. I've actually got those already. But anyway, let me move in here, and I gotta say, I gotta stop using, but anyway, check this out. Now, anybody can do the wiring they want to, but I solder everything, then I put electrical tape over top of it, and then things like this right here, that's obviously temporary right now because this is my hot lead coming in, and that's where I'm tapping off all of my constant power. Constant power, for example, is for the sunroof and a couple other things. I'm gonna have a USB plug up here so I can hang my Galaxy tablet up here and watch movies in the back seat. And again, that's what these switches are for right here. So I don't want to run the amplifiers and everything if I'm going to sit here and watch a Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or Gladiator or something like that. Anyway, so these basically switches will pop right up in here on my metal head panel. Tweeters, all my wiring is kind of tucked up. These right here, everything is labeled. Now, you know, I'm like a squirrel. I'll bury a nut someplace and forget where I put it. And the same thing, either I'm getting older right now and I can't remember half of the shit, but I label every single thing, because if I come back down here in 2 or 3 years or in 6 months from now, I don't know where that red cable came from. Now, if you're using an easy wiring harness, it's kind of simple because every 5 or 6 inches they tell you exactly where to go. But sometimes when you have to piece stuff like together and you make custom stuff, it's not that simple. Anyway, so if you look right down here, fuel sender unit, gauge lights, rear drive suicide door, that basically, I know what that means. That's the one that actually controls the safety switch. Now here's another thing. If you have the opportunity right down here and you're running wire all the way to the back, and if it's as simple just completing the circuit, always run it on the negative side. Make the control for the negative side or the ground side, because that way if it does short out, you're not going to have an electrical fire or pop a fuse. The only thing is, this light will actually come on and you're going to go check it out. It's like, okay, it's chafing against ground someplace, because this light right here is not controlled by the plus, it's actually controlled by the ground, and you're not going to have a problem about interfering with the rest of the board computer or anything. So My switch in the back for the suicide doors is actually controlled by the negative part of this one. And I think that's about it. I'm getting ready to put my my gauge up in here for the speedometer. You've seen that in the back, and again, everything is labeled in here. Oh, I wanted to show you this right here. I actually polished this little sucker up, and it looked out pretty good. Check this out. This is how your window actually comes up, your front windshield, and you can crank it back down right now. So that thing was actually looking pretty rough, but I actually got on my little handy dandy bench grinder over there, and I got a polishing cloth on it, and it turned out pretty good. And I actually like the old patina on here, so I'm going to keep that in here. And again, that thing cranks out the window. I think that's about it for in here. That's all I want to tell you guys today. So tomorrow, we're actually going to head out to a place called Germersheim for GSRA, and going to polish up the V12 a little bit and head out there for the GSRA Nationals. That's actually started today, but I'm going to clean the rims up a little bit and run this thing through a little car wash and head out there. So that's about it. Rat Rod Build, Plymouth Part Number 28. Noch ganz kurz auf Deutsch, also das Projekt macht große Fortschritte. Und Motor ist drin, ich schätze mal noch 2-3 Wochen und dann kann ich zum TÜV fahren, den amerikanischen TÜV. A place to be on this thing probably in about 10 days when I come off of leave, and I think that's about it. So stoked about this thing. It's driving. A lot of electrical work still left to do on it, but that's probably within about a 48-hour time frame. I'll have all that stuff done. So anyway, take care. Bye-bye from Runneberg, Germany. See ya. Bye.